Hello. Okay, most of you probably already did your shopping this weekend, and there's been a rash of videos about, fast fashion and quality and blah, blah, blah. Um, I already did a capsule wardrobe video or two, maybe, and I explained how that idea doesn't really work the same for menswear as it does for women's clothing, and I'll discuss some of that still further in the next chapter. Um, Fast fashion, I mean, we've all heard the term by now, I'm sure. We're typically talking about blatant low quality versus affordable quality clothing. It's meant to be high turnover, high yield, quick sales, low prices. But everyone complains that it's poorly made compared to even traditional budget, clothing. So we're looking at, kind of a couple different categories. We've got the trendy. So if you like to dress trendy, totally practical clothing won't appeal to you anyway. But if you don't want to just be in the totally practical category, my channel is kind of more about, pursuing other classical, stylish themes or whatever that aren't trendy, that, hover somewhere in the middle where they're still practical, but they look good, stylish, nice, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, I've been, I guess, accused of overthinking. But I don't consider it all overthinking. A lot of this is, research, right? We're trying to find the best, deals and things that work. Kevin O'Leary says, he doesn't buy crap because he does his homework. If you're not familiar with Mr. Wonderful, um, obviously I can't afford Armani suits, and he's not working out in the field or anything where he needs durable clothing. He can buy as many expensive things as he wants. What I don't enjoy is buying something that doesn't fit or doesn't last because I don't have the money to just say send me three expensive items and discard the extra two at whim. Again, that's more for the next segment. So I was watching one of these videos though, and I agreed with most of it. And he was very much talking about fast fashion more specifically, and I had some refutes to some of his points that you can kind of figure out. Like I still like some of my cheap clothing, and I also wouldn't sit around in a three-piece Armani suit to watch TV or rake the lawn, even if I could afford them. Like it just doesn't make sense. Of course, I still need a pair of jeans or whatever. And fashion forward is this kind of new buzzword or trend or whatever. To me, mostly that's just ill-fitting nonsense that I can, like, he had fishing vests that he was showing are now a new fashion trend, and I can get a cheaper fishing vest at Big Five and just get like a real one if I want a fishing vest. I think I have three in the garage that I got for 30 or 40 bucks each. Secondhand shopping, he espouses that most of these channels do. For me, though, I've always maintained it's more hit or miss than many would like you to believe. It depends on your region. It depends on the quality for the price. I've been to plenty of dreadful thrift stores and grungy yard sales, and I can literally, shirts okay, jackets maybe, but I can almost never find used pants that fit at all. And affordable, again, is a mushy term because we're not breaking it down by pay scale and all that. So what's affordable to Kevin O'Leary is not affordable to me. But what's affordable to me, might be less affordable to somebody else, or perceived affordable. Again, we're going to go into that in the next video. So he had come up with some graphs, and the first one was something similar to this, where your bad zone is here, where the enjoyment of buying it is low, and the price is also low, because price and quality being interconnected to a degree. And then up here, the best stuff is the really expensive stuff, which we can disagree with that to a degree. But again, an Armani suit is not going to be somewhere down here. And your enjoyment of owning it, increases, theoretically with the price as related to the quality. So, okay, so that was his graph. And then or the first graph anyway. And so the problem was, if you're buying new fast fashion outfits every 2 to 3 weeks and living in influencer culture, um, you're buying more down here to try and get up in here, and a lot of this stuff ends up disposable because it doesn't wash well. You didn't like it, you didn't wear it, you end up throwing it away, or whatever, prematurely, sooner than you thought you would, and all that kind of thing. But at some point he was, talking about influencer culture, and I had to say, now you're conflating shopaholics with people who are trying to fill a need gap in their wardrobe versus like a gap in their social life or social standing or internet clicks or whatever it is. It's not literally the same thing. I'm not necessarily buying some of this stuff just because I want to show it on the Instagram every week. You might have a job where you need specific kind of items and you can't afford the Kevin O'Leary versions. Yeah, it's easy to say, younger people want to be influencers now because, it beats working for a living. And so they're going to show off all the fashions they can, again, to try and get clicks. But that's a totally different phenomenon, or slightly different phenomenon anyway. And so in his second graph, he had basically showed, if you only buy above the line, more or less around here, you eliminate all this other stuff that, previously was filling in too much of your wardrobe. Okay, and that's fine. But, this stuff here giving you the same amount of enjoyment of this stuff here is a little bit contradictory to what he was saying before about how, the higher the price is, the better you enjoy it. So why isn't it still more green here? And if you're supposedly going to get, yet more enjoyment out of this, but if this is more affordable, again, down here, I'm never getting here, right? So we'll talk about that in a second. And so as his sort of illustration of that is he bought a pair of colorful shoes that he doesn't wear. So he gets a low dollar value from the purchase. But really, I say that's just him choosing not to wear them, not their actual cost per wear value in terms of longevity or anything. We don't know how good they were in the long term because he threw them in the closet and forgot about them and then said they were a waste of money. Well, yes and no, maybe. I would never buy funky, weird shoes like that, even though I have plenty of shoes that, I haven't worn yet, but they were all bought geared toward a specific use rather than just sneakers I thought looked cool. So, like I said, again, something we'll revisit. And leather shoes and boots will typically outlast most, sneakers, but again, they fill a different wardrobe function gap. You fulfill this other role. I wouldn't wear dress shoes to go running or hiking. I wouldn't wear combat boots to, an office job. It's so depending on the office, I guess. Or Kevin O'Leary, I don't think ever owned a pair of combat boots. Let's put it that way. So we all agree that fast fashion is inherently low quality and not just lower quality, like I said. But I would put, some of the top end of the new bad zone, wherever the bad zone was, kind stuff maybe over here, kind of into the acceptable for now zone, because I can't afford over here or even up here yet. And I think this would make, more of a triangle shape where we have instead gray area of, yeah, it's not ideal, but it's what we can live with to fill the gap because we're never ever getting here, or maybe not never ever, but it's going to take us a long time to save up to get to most of this if we are on a budget. And, and here we have this compromise area where, yeah, we're not thrilled about it. We're not enthusiastic about it, but we can't say that we totally hate it if we need it, and so that's my version of the graph without being all. And so then he talks about like some swag stuff. I don't know. That's another one of those terms that I don't really use. It doesn't really have anything to do with quality, such as durability, and when it comes to like true quality, I guess you must buy the real thing, or the garment will not perform correctly. Like if you need sub-zero weather clothing, you don't want to skimp. If you need heavy duty work boots, again, you don't want to get the Kmart or the lower than Kmart ones or whatever. Walmart, I guess, would be. But this will hardly matter with jeans and hoodies, where most brands of jeans now that are commercially department store available are all kind of similar quality. There's a little variance and a few dollars difference, but jeans and hoodies and t-shirts, you can get them in a certain price range. So he talks about this, again, back to the cost per wear thing, where it becomes the overthinking thing of the endless, you're looking for the endless clothing. You're on the endless clothing bargain search, looking for the thing that you never quite achieve or whatever. Again, but even on your own graph, you have that stuff up here, and it would make you the happiest ever. So, why aren't you looking? But you're never going to find it for that price. I agree. But the problem with this search too, or some aspect of it, is a lot of the, like, people like me relied on the old reliable brands, and they just aren't reliable anymore. So you think you're just going to be able to order stuff on Amazon to get good quality, to save time, and you're not. Amazon, the quality is not going to be there. But then you go to LL Bean or something, and they've changed all their fits, they've changed all their fabrics, they've discontinued a ton of products that I used to want. So unfortunately, that sends you back into the treadmill of this search that he's implying that you already know what clothes are good, therefore just buy those clothes. It's like, well, yeah, I used to know that 15-20 years ago, and now I don't know that anymore. I just did a video about Woolrich shirts a couple days ago on Friday about this exact problem. So yeah, so I have to buy compromise items, maybe, even if they're not in my happy zone. I find that a lot of more young people just want to dress like eighth graders, and more adults do now too. So maybe fashion falls off a cliff entirely in the next 5 years anyway. I don't know. Then there were some comments. One person said fast fashion is whack, affordable is not. Yes, exactly. It's not just semantics. This other person said, I get compliments on all my garments I bought under $20. I shop at normal department stores. You can have an eye for fashion and stylish without having a wallet for luxury brands. Hey, that's the whole point of my channel. Agree. Then in the video, the next point, he said not to buy knockoffs because they're bad and they'll never be the real thing. Well, I kind of already said this already. But then he says buying for thrills wears off, especially if the items are low quality and disappoint you. Again, we're back to the influencer thing. But he said himself there should be enjoyment in all of your purchases at whatever level of that. And I don't think that the thrill of buying the cheaper alternatives doesn't last, and the item itself may not really last, but that doesn't mean you will ever be able to afford the actual item. So it's kind of like saying don't ever fly coach, because you can't, it's not the same thing as owning your own jet. So yeah, again, I can't be Kevin O'Leary, but that doesn't mean I can't fly to Florida, So yeah, my trousers won't be the same as his trousers, but I can have trousers that don't look like jeans for $100 maybe. Someone else said, let's see. Oh, he agreed. Sorry, I scrolled too far. Someone said, I definitely think there's an argument for affordable alternatives that allow a piece to be more versatile, either because it's not so niche it only goes with a few other pieces, or that the cost of it doesn't deter you from wearing it regularly. Like if you buy a tuxedo jacket, you're not wearing it regularly. Or if you buy those super funky sneakers, you're not wearing them regularly. And then he says, nothing worse than being at the top right of that graph and not wearing something because it's too much to want to wear it out in the wild, or too unique to, afford the rest of the outfit to make it shine. So yeah. And then the video guy said that's a really good point. Where more luxury items are more specialized, that could be a negative for most potential buyers. And I agree with all of that. Yeah, and I said this before. Don't wear a nice sport jacket with jeans. It looks dumb. Don't do it. Other channels will go, no, you can get away with it. You can't get away with it. I don't care how nice the jeans they are. They're not the same thing, and we're not discussing apples to apples per se right here, but you get what I mean. This one says, I agree with the premise on face value, especially when people say affordable, they mean knockoffs or fast fashion, and that's pretty whack. Yes, but then I think he contradicts himself again because he calls thrift stores affordable clothing. So we just need to define the terms a little bit better. Then someone else says, you contradict yourself. What's with the $200 rule? Uniqlo, I thought you oppose fast fashion and the exploitative industry. So somebody else thought he was contradicting himself, at least. It wasn't just me. Then this one says, I know this video is getting a little long, but whatever. If you made it this far, we're almost there. My graph would be more like a root function. The cheapest stuff is mostly not that great. And at some point, the increase in the price just doesn't bring any advantages anymore either, which is what the other guy was just saying. That that's when your law of diminishing returns equation happens, supposedly. Although I would argue that people like Kevin O'Leary aren't going to care about that because, again, if they don't want to wear that Armani suit and they want to get a different suit, they'll just toss that one and get the new suit because they can afford it. So you're splitting hairs at a lower economic level, blah, blah, blah. Again, like I said at the beginning, what's your actual budget? And some items, to go back to those other 2 points, can't be gotten for less. Again, like the Learjet, the Omega watch. If you really, really want that item, even if it doesn't go with the rest of your outfit, because you know that the quality is there or whatever, you'll try and get that item. And last, I might have to do a part 3, but this one said, I hate spending lots of money on clothes if I don't have to. Aside from most of my layering pieces, the majority of my clothes are stuff I randomly find on sale. One of my outfits that gets complimented a lot, I literally bought at the Gap for maybe $25 total. And, yeah, true. You're better off in the long run, maybe. But I still think the Gap is overpriced and boring. And I don't know, again, on this level of how stylish are those clothes versus how practical are those clothes, I don't know. I'd have to see the outfit to determine, okay, that was a good $25, or you're happy in them, so they're fine. But yeah, that's yeah, that's, like I said, that's kind of the point. We're trying to all do that. And like I said, when I talk about the cost per wear and stuff, it hopefully won't go on this long, but we'll go pretty in depth. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.